Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we read two parashiyot together. This is something that doesn't happen every year, but since this year we don't have a leap year, we read the parasha of Vayak'hel and the parasha of Pekudei this week. And also they're the last parashas of the book of Exodus. So the parasha of Vayak'hel means assembled. As in Moshe assembled in Hebrew, there are many words which mean gather, but Vayak'hel in particular emphasizes how all the assembled members merge identity to form a single whole as an assembly. And both of the parashas are talking about the Mishkan, the tabernacle that was built in the desert. And Pekudei means counting, an idea which stresses the worth of the individual. So one is talking about the importance of a group, of a community, and the second one is emphasizing on the importance of the individual. So both are very important. Communal unity gives a lot of strength, and Hashem wants us to be united. He needs the Jewish people to be together and united, working together for a same cause. But at the same time, Hashem emphasizes and gives importance to each person as an individual and what that person can bring to the table, because nobody's made the same. And each one of us has different gifts and different tools and different strengths that can come to build the whole puzzle together. And it's like an orchestra, like a symphony. You have the violin, you have the guitar, you have the piano, you have the trumpets, you have the saxophone, you have different instruments. Each one represents a different sound. But when you put them together in perfect harmony, then the music is beautiful. And if one is missing, then the whole piece is not complete. If you're a connoisseur of music, you will see that the piece is not complete. So in Vayak'hel, Hashem starts by saying Moshe caused the whole community of the children of Israel to assemble on the day after Yom Kippur, which was the day in which Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the second tablets, and which the Jewish people were forgiven for the sin of the golden calf. And he said to them, "These are the things that God commanded to be done. For 6 days work may be done, but the seventh day should be holy for you, a day of complete rest to God." And it's very strong here because it says, whoever does work on it should be put to death. It's a very strong connotation, and you should not kindle fire in any of your dwelling places on the Shabbat day. So let's see why it is so important to keep Shabbat, and why would it have such a big punishment if we don't keep it. Here when it says death, really it means not really physical death. It means that a person, a Jew that doesn't keep Shabbat in a certain way, he's not living, he's not really being true to who he is, and he's missing that part of himself. So there's 3 times in the Torah where this is mentioned, the keeping of Shabbat. One was at Marah, and if you remember, Marah was a place where the Jewish people stopped when they came out of Egypt to drink water. And Marah, it was called Marah because Marah comes from the word maror, which means bitter. And the water was bitter, and the Jewish people were complaining. And Hashem said to Moshe, throw a piece of wood into the water and you'll see how it will become sweet. But this doesn't make any sense, really. If you put a piece of wood into water, it's not going to make it sweet. It's going to make it taste like wood. But here, what Hashem was trying to tell the Jewish people is like, I can make a water that is bitter taste sweet with wood. Like, I am the one that makes the world. Don't forget that. And here it's mentioned the keeping of Shabbat. Then the second time that Hashem says about the keeping of Shabbat is when he gives the Torah in the 10 Commandments. And it's one of the 10 Commandments to keep the Shabbat. You should keep it. And the third time is when he's instructing in this parasha the building of the Mishkan. And he again reminds the Jewish people to keep the Shabbat. So let's see what is keeping the Shabbat, what is a melaha. And a melaha is one of the 39 works, creative works, that the Jewish people did in the building of the Mishkan. There were 39 creative things that they did to build the Mishkan. For example, they used to tint the leathers, they used to wash, they used to plant, they used to work the wood, they used to do many things in the creation of the Mishkan. And these 39 melahas, how they're known in Hebrew, are exactly the 39 things that we have to abstain ourselves from doing on Shabbat. Obviously, we're not building a Mishkan nowadays, a physical Mishkan. We're building a spiritual Mishkan, but not a physical Mishkan. So, for example, we cannot shred paper, we cannot wash clothes on Shabbat, we cannot paint, because these are all things that were done in the building of the Mishkan. So Hashem created the world in 6 days with his speech. And if we read the Bereshit, he says, and God said it was good, and he said, let's make this, and let's make this, and let's make this. So it was created with speech, and the Hasidut teaches that God not only created the world, but he recreates the world at every instant with his speech. And every second he's verbalizing everything that is contained in the world. If he would stop saying one of these things that we have, then it would cease to exist. But the question is, in Shabbat, he ceases to speak, because this is what work is for him, is the speech. And how in the world is on Shabbat, the world not disappearing if Hashem is not recreating it through speech. So Hasidut teaches us that during Shabbat, Hashem is recreating the world with his thought. And if we see, speech is something that once we speak it, it leaves our mouth, it leaves our lips, and it goes. But thought, it's something that we have inside of us. It's not being able to leave ourselves yet, because it's in our thought process. So whatever we're thinking, it's inside of us. It's not, you can be in a place and be thinking something negative about somebody, and nobody will know, because it's part of you. It hasn't come out. But the moment you verbalize it, then everybody will know what you think. So Hashem creates the week in 6 days, and the 7th day he rested. And what he wants us to learn about this is that on Shabbat, what we have to know is to remember that Hashem created the world in 6 days. This is what Shabbat is. Shabbat is us testifying to the creation of the world, saying, yes, it's true. God created the world in 6 days. On the 7th day, he rested. He ceased to be creative. He stood still. He didn't create more world. He just stood still. And that stillness that comes in Shabbat really is like, for example, an artist that's painting a painting, and then one day he stops and he doesn't paint it anymore. He takes one step back and he looks at it, and he's looking at it, and he's just thinking, okay, what else do I have to do to this painting? What else do I have to, what else is there for me to create here? And this is what Shabbat is. It's a day in which we rest, in which we stop our mundane jobs. We're not thinking about business. We're not thinking about our car. We should not be thinking about schoolwork. We should just let it be and just concentrate on our life, on where we are. Is it good? Is it not good? What else can I do to make it better? But in a spiritual sense, not in a physical sense. And in that day, we transcend. And that's what it is. We come to a day in which we rest. So as a congregation, it's very important, because you have to be in a community to be able to keep Shabbat in a beautiful way, in which you're enjoying Shabbat with other people, and you're praying together, and you're doing Kiddush together, and it brings new meaning to it. As an individual, each person has their own way in which they make Shabbat special. And And in this way, we really make a dwelling place for Hashem in this world. We bring the presence of God into our lives, and it's through Shabbat. So I want to wish you a good week, a happy week, a healthy week, and live a little higher. Thank you.